Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name is Brian and we're going to recap the 37th session of our Tomb of Annihilation campaign. This is actually me talking from a continuation of the 36th session, so I'm not going to talk about the delicious beer I'm drinking. If you want to know more about it, you can hear me rant about it for about 4 minutes in the other session. So, that said, I'm still going to drink it. Okay, so start off, Navarre's pissing in this cauldron. Immediately, those three hags appear, and we jump into combat. They don't even care. They don't want to hear a story. You're pissing in their cauldron. They don't like that. The hag fight. This worked out. I think it played out well. I had some fun. The mechanics I used hag-wise was I always try to have one of them keep you guys CC'd, while the other two worked on doing damaging spells. This actually worked out in pretty good effect. Most time I had two people with hold person, and then the other two were damaging. We were looking at lightning bolts, which while they didn't do a whole lot of damage because you guys saved a lot, they did do a decent amount. And so, I mean, we're talking, they were doing their lightning bolts at max level, so we're doing level 6, 5th. I think I did 2 or 3 level 6 lightning bolts, a couple level 5s. And then the other big mechanic that I used in this fight was counterspell. And I don't normally use counterspell. However, these hags, because they've been doing recon via the Doppel Navarre, they knew you guys were kind of heavy on the spell casting, so they prepared counterspell, and it was actually part of their normal repertoire anyway. But because of that, they knew what to watch out for. So there's a lot of counterspell action going on here. At one point, I even counterspelled somebody's counterspell, which caused their counterspell to fail, and then went on, and the lightning bolt went off. So lots of fun going on there. Surprised nobody jumped in with an additional counterspell on that one, which would have made things even more crazy. But mechanically, I feel bad for Aaron playing Carr. He was the one that was counterspelled the most. Just out of the way, like turn orders weren't because I use the computer, the laptop. We roll initiative every turn. The computer does it automatically. People do the first initiative, then from there on out, the computer does it automatically. So, looking onward, he was counterspelled a lot, and then the spells he tried to do, they either he tried to do a dominate person, and while the creature failed because it's immune to a charm, it didn't do anything there. And I did look, because I know in previous editions, Dominate was different than Charm, but in this edition, it specifies that the creature is charmed, which to me then falls under the Charm classification. If you're immune to being charmed, you can't be dominated. That's my justification there. And then, like his Lesser Restoration, the first one was counterspelled. So he quick and he did Lesser Restoration on Psy during one of the times that Psy was, what's it called? Psy was held, and then he did a Greater Invisibility. Greater Invisibility went through, but the Lesser Restoration failed. So now Psy was sitting there paralyzed but invisible. Eventually, you guys took down 2 out of the 3 hags. The third hag seeing this immediately like, okay, legit, you guys won. Here's your skulls back. Let's talk my freedom here. What can I do? What can I do for you to get out of here? And so you guys talked a little bit, and mainly Navarre wanted to know about what the fuck was going on with Doppel Navarre over there. And they kind of once again reiterated that they've been learning what you guys know, watching your progress, preparing for stopping you guys at this door here. Making sure that if you guys do have all the skulls, they know to intercept them, who might be carrying them, and mechanically, tactics-wise, how do you guys operate? Back to combat here. One of the things that really helped out was Ildric's got a crit, and being a paladin, he did like a max level smite, and then dumped all his charges that he had remaining from his staff of striking and just unloaded on this poor hag there, and didn't kill it. It took it from like a quarter damaged to like 4 hit points left or something like that. So really good on that, considering the health pool that these have and like the resistances and that kind of stuff there. So cheers on that. So discussions with this hags go on for a little bit, and Sai's like, all right, or not Sai, Navarre's like, you know what, I'm done. He cast Shatter. The hag was right there by Navarre because the hag was kind of cooing and petting at Navarre. Navarre was not enjoying the situation. Shattered the cage, hurt the hag, hurt Carr a little bit, and then everybody just blasted this hag down before it could react, which is good because I had a nasty trick up my sleeve, but you guys took it down. So from there, Leorin quickly stabilized the Navarre. Didn't pump it with hit points, but just like left it. Okay, let's leave it be. We'll go about this later. From there, the butler that the 3 dolls talked about came out, looked around, noticed the hags were dead. Lets you guys know, okay, well, this is unexpected. You were supposed to have the feast first because the feast was supposed to poison you. Well, the food is okay to eat. We talked about this later down the road, so we'll just talk about this now. Well, the food is okay to eat. If you indulged in the food that the witch liked, you would then have disadvantage on attacking them because you'd be a little bit charmed by them. So he went over into the room, pulled a lever, and a 3rd slot opened up because you had 2 out of the 5 slots open previously. Now there's a 3rd slot open, so leaving you guys with 2 rooms left. Navarre just wanted to hurry up and get a move on, went and checked out the room with the lectern, read through it, but he did not read the book in the proper order, and that sadly led to Navarre's death. So he's reading this book through the lectern, reading the poem. It's getting worse and worse, and as he reads it, some ceiling fans that were above this plaster ceiling kick up, and he just goes flying up, and he was not good to begin with, given the amount of damage that people took from the hag fight, and it took him down to, it didn't kill him outright, it took him down to 0, and then the next turn he was still up in the fan, took the immediate damage, followed by a fail on the death save. So Navarre died. I was really bummed about this. I could tell Don was really bummed about this, especially because we all know next week should be our last session. So to have this character last all the way through all this bullshit just to die sucked. I attempted to retcon it because I forgot that you had to be able to read Infernal to even read the book. But talking to Don via email today, Navarre is officially dead. And I'll explain kind of what happened at the end of this session, how the next character comes into play. That way, just right off the bat, we don't have to introduce characters. Bam, it's there. The next room you go into, the last of the unsolved rooms, there is this glass cylinder, and there is this little itty bitty triangle inside on the front of the glass cylinder that you can that leads on the inside of the glass cylinder. And inside the glass cylinder, there is a lever. So you guys are trying to figure out how to do this. And Carr was able to accomplish it with the reverse gravity spell. Reverse the gravity, everything is great there. Thing opens up. The butler says, now that you guys have opened up all the doors, he is no longer contractually obligated to make a thing a pain in the ass for you guys. So you guys are welcome to rest. And you guys took a more than welcome, more than ready, more than deserved long rest. Leveled up to level 11. Except for Thessalon, who was already a level 11. So, going into the next room. The next room led to this giant triangular room. There's 3 balconies on the far side of the room. You guys are on the broad side of the triangle, and it leads out to a point. There are these 3 gigantic adamantine struts. And in the center is this giant canister type deal with this big pulsing black nexus nodule, something in the middle of it with these tendrils floating out to it. floating out from it. And floating in the air is this kind of giant, evil, fetus-y looking thing. And it's got kind of this weird umbilical cord going into the nexus. And you guys deduce that this is the soulmonger. And whatever the fuck that little giant baby thingy is not good. You do know that that the whole plan behind this is to raise some sort of new death god. So you're assuming that that is the death god in incubation, is what you guys deduced. You guys are able to search the room, though, as a whole, relatively easily. The death god thingy and the tendrils didn't really seem to bother you. As you're searching the room, you see that there's all these phylacteries. Eventually, you found out that eventually there are phylacteries lined up on these balconies. And on the very far balcony, there's this mist gate leading to some sort of other area. Ildrix threw some food at it, and it went on through without issue that he can tell. It didn't come back fried or anything like that. Nobody went through that yet. But as this is going on, in the room leading up to this, unbeknownst to you guys, there is a new person. The new person is a paladin. Paladin, high elf paladin at that. Mechanically wise, I don't know how much Don wants me to give up, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give the gist here. So the paladin is actually like a retainer of Navarre's father. So this was like the backup plan. And she's been kind of always telling you guys, trying not to step on Navarre's coattails, that kind of thing there. So seeing, she didn't expect Navarre to die. She didn't, and she wasn't actually caught up to you guys at the point, from the time Navarre died to the time she came, through, she's like a day or so behind you guys. Anyway, she comes on through. She sees, bits and pieces of dead Navarre. Finds like a finger with his signet ring, grabs that in hopes that they can do some sort of restoration on the way back. Sees Doppelvar and the sorrow and disgust and all that kind of stuff with seeing Doppel Navarre, and the pity in this creature's eyes. Thyra, I believe I'm saying it right, puts down Doppel Navarre and walks to join you guys in the main room. And that is where we left off. So next week, Aaron said he won't be there, but he should be sending us the information for Carr, so that way you guys are playing with the full 7, because from what I recall and planning this out, it's probably going to be a pretty hard fight. We should be hitting the ground running, like right into combat for the most part. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to wrap this up. I did already announce that we will be kind of doing a story-esque montage, not role-playing it out, but just kind of talking about what each character goes on to do afterward. So hopefully we can get to that as well at the end. So, looking forward to playing this out. Looking forward to wrapping up this campaign. Yeah. See you guys on Wednesday. Bye.